today I'm gonna be inking a piece that I did like last week, and it's like a sketch that is very nightmare inspired, and while doing it I was thinking that I would very much like to ink it with brushes. So today we're gonna do just that. I'm gonna go over a little bit on my material and how I work, because I haven't done that in a very long time, so I'm gonna need to do a little bit of refreshment and training for myself. So I have a bit of scrap paper here, and the brush, the main one that I'm using is a Winsor & Newton Series 7. I don't know if you can see here, 00. I'll put a link into the description if you are interested. It's a natural sable brush, so the quality of the hair is very good, and it has a very great rebound, and it's very fine, which is awesome because I love to work with little small details. So I'll probably be using mainly this one. My ink is a Speedball Indian ink. Always shake before using. So I have a little bit of water to wash my brush in between. Start to get some ink on the brush. Usually I use the cap to even out and make sure I have enough ink, and it's also like a small reservoir for my ink. And let's see how it goes. So right now I'm just doing different strokes to get the muscle memory in. You see that I orientate my brush differently depending on the strokes. Usually you want to drag your brush or nib with your stroke. If you're using a nib, it's the same thing, but my paper is not great for nibs right now. Well, the paper I used for my sketch is not great for nibs, so I'm gonna go just with the brush for now. Because the brush is very sensitive, you want to have a very light touch with it. So right now for smaller strokes like this, it's only my fingers that are moving, as you can see here. If I want to go, so I'm a lefty, so I'm gonna go from the right side to the left side to avoid brushing anything with my hand. It's way easier for me to go from the right side to the left side of the paper in one stroke than to go from the left side to the right side, which is doable but quite weird, I found. And especially with ink, you cannot really make mistakes if you want to have something very clean, and because you can't brush it or rub it away, so you want to make sure your strokes are good. And for small strokes, I will just use my hand and move my fingers to go with it, especially if I'm doing little hatches like this. I might use more of my wrist, but if you have longer strokes, you want to use your whole arm because it's going to be more stable and still be very light with it. It's always good to train before, especially if you haven't done it in a long time. So here I'm using more of my elbow because it's not as big and it's just straight. And another important thing is to be relaxed, because if you work while being tense, and you're gonna have a risk of applying too much pressure, and you're gonna have very broad strokes, which is fine, except if it's not what you want to do. And if you have fine strokes but you're tense and you're going very slow and like putting too much arm pressure on your table, you might have a little wobbliness. So you want to kind of shake your shoulders off, breathe a lot, and just let your strike go. One thing I learned when I was just starting to not only ink but just draw in general was if you work with a bigger piece of paper, you want to exhale while you're tracing whatever you're doing, which is like a great tip, especially for if you tend to be a little anxious, and it helps to have a very smooth movement. Just try it out, see if it works for you. But if you're tense and holding your breath, you might just have trouble getting with your stroke. But if you're relaxed and exhaling, you can do much better quality in your strokes. So here I have a little fish shape. So I'm gonna do this little fishy. That's probably gonna be it for me for my warm-up. I'm not too fan of those warm-ups, but I try to stick to it a little bit. Usually I'm just very impatient to go to my piece, and because that's the thing that I've been doing for a while, well, I did a lot of it back a few years ago. I'm fairly confident with it, and it's a medium that I really appreciate. So now we're gonna get started. Set. I have my drawing. I have this piece of paper to protect my hand, and when I'm gonna go into those details around here, I want to avoid smudging it too much because the sketch is still very loose, and I like to keep it that way, but I also don't want to smudge everything. And I have my little training piece here. Usually whenever I will grab ink, I will do a few strokes there to make sure I have the right amount of ink and just to get back into it. And I'm gonna clean again. Get my thing here. Drink some coffee. And I'm gonna start. And I might have a few comments at the same time, but I'm also probably just gonna pop some music at some point and just dive in.